Hello everybody and welcome to my Formula 1 2013 career mode with the Monaco GP well underway here, and of course the well-known fact, if you take your eyes off this track for 1 second you're going to be punished, and that's exactly what happened there with a big into that barrier hump, and I ended up 13th in practice with a few minutes lost to that accident. So now we enter Q1 with a guaranteed rain forecast and into the session, and now we're trying our very best. We've already lost 2 cars to this session with just a minute played, and there's one of them, Nico Hulkenberg, into the chicane barrier there, and I've lost that lap. It wasn't very good anyway, but I had to discard it. So the forecast continues to take victims. We're now down to just 16 cars. I'm trying my very best, running out of time. It was a very tough session, and this track is so difficult that I had to put on my ABS aid, since I always had so many little bumps and lost me front wing and stuff. So I'm trying my hardest here, and I only gained 1 position to 19th despite the casualties in the session. I'm trying my absolute hardest, just half a second down, and now we head into my final lap. It's not good enough, this one. I have very little fuel left, but I have to put in rich mode to stand any chance of getting through to the next session. And just very tough, but this was an excellent entry into the Casino Square and all that. Again, don't crucify me for not knowing the corners, I'm really crap at them, but anyway, there we go. I've actually gained 8 thousandths of a second on Van der Gaard's time there in 16th, and the time limit is already gone. I'm absolutely giving it hell and no room for error, trying my absolute hardest, and again I've gained a little bit more time, but with enough. The car's starting to crank. The engine is worn out of fuel at this stage. I pretty much don't have a hope unless I get a miracle exit and quick curves out of this onto the straight. There we go. I'm trying my hardest, but no, it's just conking out way too hard, and I'm gone. I'm eliminated in Q1, whereas my teammate Maldonado survives. But as you can see there, Ricciardo has a 10th place penalty. Vettel and Hulkenberg didn't even set any times, and a lot of cars failing to make a lasting impression on the session by retiring, but they did have another chance. Unlike what you do in real life, you get kicked out of the next session if you crash out, even if you get a good enough time. So here's the overall grid. It's Rosberg, Webber, Hamilton, Alonso, Massa, Raikkonen, Button, Grosjean, Perez and Maldonado in the top 10. So a very messy race, one that Caterham and Russia will be looking to exploit in particular. You can see there are 3 of them ahead of me, and with 79% chance of rain for the Grand Prix. Will it count for the very beginning? No, it will not. As you can see, I'm on my super softs, red stripes for the race. So we do start dry, but it will be raining at some stage. I don't know when, but here we go. The lights go out, and here we go. Charles Pic off to a good start. You can see there Max Chilton, who's off to a better start. He's on my inside. I bump the wall, acknowledging he's going to be chasing me. Chilton kind of blocks me. Pic and Bianchi go wide. Van der Gaard does well there in 15th. So I've now got the Marussias ahead with Vettel behind, and Hulkenberg again trying to take position. So now Chilton blocks me on the inside very wisely, but he's now pushing his teammate into danger. And look at that from Max Chilton. That is very brave, taking 2 cars around the outside there. So now I've got Vettel behind. I want to take Van der Gaard on the inside, which I do, to get that 17th minimum requirement. So Chilton ahead with Gutierrez not far in front again, and you can see there's a K-Rum in front. So there's a very big opportunity for points for pretty much any team today, depending how the weather plays out. And now we're into the famous tunnel, and I'm pretty much stuck behind. Oh, I've gone for a lunge. My brake balance was wrong. I had to switch it very quickly there. So my brakes were not great. I'm trying a wet weather setup, as much downforce as I could put, but the car is kind of struggling early on. And we've got yellow flags. Oh, it's a huge accident. Oh my god, this is an absolute chaotic moment. Oh, there's absolute debris everywhere. A huge shunt, and nearly half the grid has been claimed. Vettel is spun 180 degrees in front of me, and he'll be out of this race. And a lot of cars have had to take a bow out of the race, so we've got a red flag. Chilton and Maldonado also in front there. Huge accident. And now we're down to just 15 with that massive chicane accident. So what an opportunity this is now. I've already done the minimum by just surviving. There was a huge shunt, and I think someone just must have lost the control. The AI not doing very well at that corner whatsoever. So now Bianchi and myself go on the inside of Hulkenberg, so I'm up to 14th again. Great start for the leaders there. Look at that, they're miles ahead. And oh, look at Charles Pic, he's been left for dead, and now, oh, there's contact. He completely forgot his safety there. He braked very hard on me when he had pretty much just another car to let through. So now I'm behind Hulkenberg, who has a big job for Sauber to recover this race. And now Charles Pic I've got him now under my control. So now I'm trying to keep up with Hulkenberg. And once again we go through the tunnel, the one that makes Monaco. You don't get anything like that anywhere else. And brake again for the chicane. I have to change my brake balance again because of that red flag. It doesn't remember. So the cars are flying through the middle sector now, trying to take this corner well in fourth gear. And there's more danger up ahead. It's the same corner, and again we've got more retirements. Chilton and Maldonado, Bianchi, Gutierrez, and Webber was backwards. Webber was backwards in that corner, and surely that's him out of the race as well. And we have another red flag coming up, an absolute disaster. Webber actually does manage to survive, but the race is stopped for the second time. I've never seen this in all my days of playing F1 video games. Certainly not since F1 2001 when I caused a crash on purpose in that sector. But anyway, here we go again. Just 10 cars remain. Points guaranteed for everybody. Button has to slow down. He's been lapped or something, and it's all crazy now. I'm up the behind of Hamilton, so Till has him on the outside, and I'm technically 6th, but the game doesn't acknowledge it. Grosjean is somehow still ahead of me, and it's all sorts of a mess. I have to let him through or else I get a penalty, because I'm going to get these blue flags coming up now. You can see they should be coming up any second now as I go wide. Yeah, there you go. There's the blue flags. I have to change my brake balance again. And Hamilton is going to chase the Till. There's not much I can do to keep up with him. I'm not in the strongest of setups. And but I can't really let Grosjean go too early. It'd be stupid. We have to go through the tunnel one more time in this amazing third start to the race. And he's still technically 6th place. And now Hamilton has pulled out a gap. But I have a little gap of my own in the middle of the pack here. Take the chicane well. No casualties this time, but again I get the warnings. If I ignore the flags one more time, I will get a penalty. So this is my place to let him go. And there we go. But now I try and get him back on the inside. I've scared him into a mistake, but he has great drive out of the corner. And that's pretty much the end of that. So it took 3 attempts, but finally we finished the lap. Wow, what drama. And we now chase up the hill. And I have a big gap to Webber and Button, who entered the pit. They must have had a change of strategy. They must have lost their front wings or something in the damage and then getting repaired or some nonsense. But there we go. We move on now to lap 9. The rain is starting to drop here. And I don't know when it's going to officially fall, and we have to make our changes, so it's a very difficult time because my tires get worn out, and I have Jensen Button on my backside. So yeah, so big pressure now. Button has a lot of work to do if he wants to get past me, but it shouldn't be too difficult eventually. There's no DRS now. The weather is too bad, according to Stuart. So there you go, you can see the wear on my tires again. But if I pit too early, I'll have to go straight back into the pits and get inters, and I'll waste a lot of time. So it's just a big pressure. So Webber absolutely clatters into Button there, and it's just a lot of mess really. So it's a lot of mess really. So I have to ignore pit lane and go on for another lap as scheduled, or else I'd be pretty much taking a huge risk when I need to profit from the the wet weather, which is bound to come at some stage. So Button does get me now. I am really fatigued on these tires, and Mark Webber will surely have a go at me very soon. I block the inside, as you expect. in the famous 1997 Grand Prix at Monaco, Jacques Villeneuve collided with Luca Badoer there when he was trying to get into the points because he had such a bad weekend, and they had the collision there. So no such risks from myself or Webber this time, and now I have no choice but to pit. Webber will take me on the outside as I enter the pits, and that's that. So a huge session. I've now lost a lot of time to Webber and Button. They're away, they're much quicker, and now I decide to put on my harder tyres just in case the rain doesn't come. But it's just very confusing. You're on your own, you don't know what to do with the rain, you're not used to it in this game so far. But there we go, I emerge well ahead of Charles Peak, but all on my own in a very lowly 9th position, which is still worth two very handy points at least. So now lap 12, the rain is properly coming down now. It's not enough to make me understeer into every, understeer and aquaplane to every possible barrier, but it's still there. We have to get a tire change done at some stage. You can see some of the AI responding immediately, so I decide lap 14 is the right time to take the gamble, and we now will have to put on intermediates, so I don't gain any positions from my gamble, and it's all a matter of just pushing to the very limit that I can realistically go without crashing, of course. And Charles Peak is planning to pit as well. The catering crew is out, so if you didn't notice the first time, the pit lane is an absolute graveyard with absolutely no one in this race. There should have been more than 22 cars, but they all retired. So now we can take a look at the aftermath of those huge accidents. Alonso, Perez, Hamilton, Sutil, Hulk, Grosjean, Button, Webber, myself and Peak. And now you can see Rosberg, Massa, De Resta, Raikkonen, Gutierrez, Vettel, Verne, Bianchi, Van der Gaard, etc. all out of the race. And now it's lap 18. I'm going to be met by Fernando Alonso to be lapped officially for the first time in this race. I'm not doing too well, and Charles Peak is kind of making a little bit of a return on me. He's nearly 20 seconds down. I just have to keep that gap relatively safe and make sure I finish ahead of him, because you don't want Caterham to be getting more points than you in a random rain GP, to be honest. It was very hard to get points again. So now we move on to lap 21. I've been met by the other podium contenders, Perez and Hamilton, so I let them go. I decide to shortcut the chicane. It's actually Grosjean, I beg your pardon. Grosjean's there, and he overtakes me. No, I've completely overstepped my mark, and I've spun 90 degrees, and I'm stranded. And here comes Charles Peak through the through the chicane. He's gonna take me. Oh, he's gonna take me out, but I get the penalty immediately for obstructing the circuit and causing that accident. So now I have a big penalty, and my race has gone completely heads down here, and we've no choice. My car isn't damaged like his, but I am gonna take the penalty straight away to try and avoid any real problems from here on in. So big disaster. I was doing so well, and there was my mistake, just pushing my accelerator too hard in the rain, and I just spin out. Yeah, so there we go. He's in the pits. I re-overtake and take 9th place back, and I'm gonna have to watch my inside. We've got some traffic coming, and through the bus lane. Here we go. We got the Red Bull. No, I've crossed the line. No, it's another penalty for myself, and that has absolutely put my race in jeopardy. And I have taken my penalty. I nearly make the same mistake again. I just slipped on the bump, and Charles Peak is away, so I'm absolutely gutted there. No chance of really making recovery there. So just a bit of stupidity on my part, getting a little bit flustered with my driving, and yeah, that was completely avoidable. And now we're in lap 26. This is my final scheduled stop. You can see now Grosjean is out of the race, so a little bit of reprieve. I get my 9th place back as Grosjean retires from the Grand Prix. I didn't see what happened. It could have been mechanical issue, so I take my last stop. I'm in the last finishing position now with 11 laps to go, but I have been lapped around 3 times now. It's been that sort of day. I did my fuel conservation at this stage. There's no real point pushing, so now I'm nearly 4 seconds behind the Caterham, and I got lapped again by it's Button, I think. No, excuse me, it's Perez. Perez goes through into second place. So there we go. It's Alonso, Perez, Sutil, Hülkenberg, Webber, Button, and Peak all ahead of me. So no real changes. So now the track is actually drying, so fair play. It's kind of difficult to be, programming this sort of thing. So hats off to Codemasters for making sure the weather was very dynamic in terms of dry to wet and wet to dry. So I finished the race in Schumacher style while he's still ill on his 45th birthday in hospital after that skiing accident. So in true style, I finished the race, just coming out of the pits, and there we go. It's a 9th place, 2 points in the World Championship, but a really dismal performance in the second half of the race. But Fernando Alonso absolutely destroyed everything in his path, and that could be the moment where the Scuderia have the championship in their fists, clenched tight, with a big 12-point lead over Hamilton now. And you can see all of his title rivals were pretty much eliminated. And now I'm up to 15th in the World Championship, just behind Charles Pic on 4 and Paul di Resta also on 4. So big day for Force India and Sauber. They gained lots of points, and we fought to 9th place behind Caterham. And we'll need to get more points in Canada, but hallelujah, it's a happy cutscene. I don't need to cut this out again for another time. It's so happy. I am so happy we got this result. The guys are obviously pleased. And there's your man, the race engineer. He's very used to himself. And we'll carry on. We'll take those 2 points. Hopefully move on to the next sector of the championship and get more on the board. Hopefully on a dry race, because there's no point really begging for rain when it's so difficult. So there we go. I have a big advantage over Pastor Maldonado now. He was desperately unlucky not to finish the race, but you can see now Canada is scheduled to have some rain. That's going to be interesting. It's very rare it rains in Canada, but when it does, it's always a chaotic moment. And there you go. I have big 3 out of 5 results against Maldonado in the teammates battle. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more drama and excitement by Formula 1 Career Mode with Canada, Great Britain and Germany lined up next. So bye for now.